saves lives. That's why the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security is offering free cable locks to help Tennesseans secure their firearms. Learn where you can request your free cable lock at safestoretn.com. That's safestoretn.com. Brought to you by the Department of Safety and Homeland Security, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in on kind of a cloudy, overcast Friday, but all things considered, it could be a whole lot worse. Abbreviated show today. Will be with you until 4:15, and then we'll give way to Vanderbilt baseball over at Hawkins Field. But first, let's get right to the business at hand. There is basketball all over the country. Belmont is playing in the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament right now. Let's go live to St. Louis and check in. Our man, Ty Wellemeyer, is courtside. Ty?
George, how you doing?
Doing good. It looks like so is Belmont.
George, there's only one way I can describe this first half right now for Belmont, and it's dominance. Currently at 27-12, they're stopping Illinois State's two best players, Johnny Kinzinger and Chase Walker, from getting the ball, getting any really good shots up. And Belmont's doing a really good job of moving the ball right now. So looking pretty dominant.
Yeah, and they've got a chance tomorrow if they can hold on, get a victory, to get Drake tomorrow. And I guess the hope is that they can build this lead, rest some players, and get ready for a really good Drake team.
That would be the hope for Coach Casey Alexander right now. That happened last season against Valparaiso. It was like a 30-point blowout. You got to rest those stars, but then they lost to Northern Iowa. Drake is a very good team. I got to see him play. They slow down the pace. Belmont loves to go really fast. Drake likes to go really slow. The only regular season matchup, Drake won by like 20, held Belmont to under 50 points. So I think Casey Alexander would love that extra rest for the Bruins.
Looks like Carter Witt has gotten off to a great start offensively.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. He's been kind of the guy who's been controlling the offense. He finds the open man to pass. He's been hitting a lot of those mid-range jumpers that he has throughout the season. But he's done everything really well right now because Tyler Lumblade's kind of getting shut down by Illinois State and Jonathan Pierre as well. So Carter Witt's really had to show up.
So 29-12, Belmont leading right now at the dead ball timeout with about 7.5 to play. Ty, what went on in the first game today?
So Illinois State kind of gave Drake a run for its money in the first half, but then Drake, as we've seen with Drake this season, kind of pulled away, kind of used its defensive prowess. They're number one in the MVC in defense to shut down the Salukis, and after that it was a 20-point blowout. So Drake has that momentum for tomorrow, so hopefully Belmont also has momentum if they win this game.
So do this for us, 29-12 at the moment. Let's check back in with you at the top of the 4 o'clock hour and keep our fingers crossed that the good news continues.
You and me both, George. That sounds good.
Ty Wellemeyer reporting from the Scott Trade Center in St. Louis, where Arch Madness is underway.
It's actually the Enterprise Center now.
The name has changed several times.
Yes.
But I'm sure the Scott Trade people appreciate the extra plug.
I'm sure they do.
Billy, do we begin today with March Madness, a little scoreboard update?
We do. We've got a March Madness scoreboard update. It is brought to you by Kentucky and Gonzaga, the big matchup coming up next season in December. These two national powers square off Friday, December the 5th at Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now at BridgestoneArena.com and the Ticketmaster app. Again, that's BridgestoneArena.com or the Ticketmaster app. You got a lot more scores to get to today. And as Ty just said, Missouri Valley, Southern Illinois took a loss to Drake earlier today, 70-53. And so Drake awaits the winner here of Belmont and Illinois State. Also later today, Murray State will take on Bradley, and Valpo will take on Northern Iowa on the other side of the bracket. Also, OVC tournament semifinal tonight at 9:30. It's a late one for the TSU Tigers as they beat Lindenwood last night. They play SIUE tonight in the OVC semifinal. So all of a sudden, here come the TSU Tigers. If they keep winning, obviously they'll have a chance at the big dance, but that'll be late tonight. In the women's side of things in the SEC, Vanderbilt gave South Carolina a fight, but they ended up falling to the Gamecocks 84-63. They were down big at the half and ended up cutting it to 6-7 there in the second half, but Carolina was just too much all at once as they beat Vanderbilt 84-63. Also right now, Oklahoma, really good one. Oklahoma leads Kentucky 60-59 with 3:18 to play in that one. So a really good one there in Greenville. Later today, Ole Miss will play Texas, the number one team in the country, and Florida will play LSU. On the women's side of the OVC, Southern Indiana trails Tennessee Tech right now 88-75. Late in that one, looks like the Golden Eagles, who are really good this year, will move on in the OVC women's tournament. And then later today as well, Western Illinois and Lindenwood doing battle. So that's what we got at the college level. At the high school level, we had a game last night. BGA knocked off St. George's 66-47. They will play Providence Christian Academy tomorrow at 1:30 out in Cookeville. Also, the first game of the day today at Tennessee Tech was CPA and Knoxville Catholic. That was a really good game on the girls' side. CPA won 50-47, and it just ended. Great game. Briarcrest beats NBA 44-42. They advance to the championship to play the winner of tonight's game, Ensworth and Knoxville Webb. So we'll see if the local mid-state team, Ensworth, can hang on and represent the mid-state well tonight. That's at 5 o'clock, Ensworth and Knoxville Webb. And then also on the women's side of things, you have Lipscomb Academy and Knoxville Webb coming up just here in a second out in Cookeville. So that is your March Madness scoreboard update, high school included.
There is more.
There's
Congratulations to Lenny Acuff and the Lipscomb Bisons.
I was going to get to that. I was just getting to the ones today.
I'm going to beat you to it then. Hold on. One of the best college games that I have seen all year. Lipscomb was down 10 with about 7 minutes left in regulation, somehow forced overtime, and then won the game in OT, final 81-75. Billy, of all the games I've ever been to at Allen Arena, that's the noisiest I have ever heard that place.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch it, but for them to come back, they were down there late in the second half, ended up getting it to overtime, as you said, beating Queens last night. They will play North Alabama on Sunday at 1 o'clock for a ticket to the big dance on ESPN2. And that leads us into the update brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. You can find her online, mortgageladyyusa.com, or give her a call, 615-969-4350. Also last night, Liberty took down MTSU 86-81. And so MTSU does not have a shot at the share for the conference title there. So the Blue Raiders go down to Liberty last night.
Doesn't that put them in the 3-hole?
Yes, and Liberty and Jacksonville State battling it out for the top spot there in the Conference USA with one game remaining in the regular season on Saturday. Also around the country tonight, Illinois takes on number 18 Purdue in Champaign, 7 o'clock on Fox. And then number 16 Memphis, big favorites over South Florida tonight, 8 o'clock on ESPN2. We've got latest bracketology. Vandy staying put at a 9 seed, according to Joe Lunardi, despite the loss to Arkansas on Tuesday. So Vandy still in the 9 seed slot in the East region, while Tennessee falls to a 2 seed. after the loss to Ole Miss, and Florida takes their spot as the 1 seed. This, according to Joe Lunardi, Vols a 2 seed in the Midwest region right now, according to Joe Lunardi. And taking a look at Lunardi's bubble, you see in the first 4 out, Oklahoma and Texas. Well, what does that mean? Lunardi says the loser of tomorrow night's Oklahoma-Texas game is out of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean,
which is understandable.
It is. It absolutely is.
And you could argue neither of them deserve any more consideration, but that's how good the SEC is. So, a huge game tomorrow in Austin as
Billy,
Texas hosts Oklahoma.
The people that are watching us by way of podcast, are they seeing the On the Bubble?
Yes.
So you'll notice that Arkansas has now gotten into the last 4 byes. They were incredibly impressive Tuesday night. I came away from it saying they've got as much raw athletic ability as any team in the league. I don't think they're particularly well coached. If you're looking for John Calipari to out X and O anybody, have a nice day. But this is a team that people better watch out about because they got a lot of talent.
I mean, they're freakishly athletic. You saw it on Tuesday with Vandy as they rolled in that one. So Arkansas, I don't know if I'd say comfortably in the field, but I mean, it looks like they'll be in the tournament. And Georgia is another team that all of a sudden looks like they'll be in the tournament. After, just a week and a half ago, it didn't look great for Georgia.
Right now, Georgia would be number 61. Arkansas would be let me try that again. Georgia would be number 62. Arkansas would be number 64. And 2 of the 4 behind that will end up in Dayton. I know I've confused you, but for now, Arkansas and Georgia would be in and would not be playing in Dayton.
Which I wouldn't believe that if you told me that just a couple of weeks ago with how they were struggling. But they
put that thing back up there for a minute. Where's Indiana?
Indiana is last 4 in.
Wow. Which sets up a really interesting deal because Woodson essentially has been fired. What happens at Indiana if he makes a run?
Gosh, I hope they get in the tournament and make a run to the Sweet 16.
I think it'd be hilarious.
I mean, you would have to think they would change their mind after a Sweet 16 run.
I wonder.
So that's what we got according to Joe Lunardi, his latest bracketology. We do have some news around the country. Duke associate head coach Jay Lucas has been, or Jay Lucas, however you pronounce that, has been named head coach at Miami.
His dad is John Lucas. This has been rumored for weeks. And John Shire was not very happy when it got out over a month ago that this was going to happen. So Lucas is going to be on the bench tomorrow for Duke and then vamoose on down to Miami.
Yeah, after Jim Larinaga retired in the middle of the season, right? He said, I'm out on this. Tomorrow, we got a lot of good SEC games to round out the season. At 11 a.m., we've got 3 games. Arkansas favored by 1.5 at home against Mississippi State. Probably need this one to cement their chances in the NCAA tournament. On ESPN, number 15, Missouri hosting number 19, Kentucky. Tigers are a 3.5-point favorite in that one. Georgia favored by 3.5 over Vandy tomorrow in Athens. So both teams trying to improve their standing. They're probably both in the tournament. At 1 o'clock, number 4, Tennessee, favored by 15.5 at home against South Carolina. Senior night for the Vols. 1:30 on ESPN, number 1, Auburn, favored by 8.5 against number 7, Alabama. Can Bama return the favor and get revenge on Auburn tomorrow? At 3 o'clock, number 22, Texas A&M, favored by 6.5 at LSU. And then number 5, Florida, favored by 11.5 over Ole Miss at home. And then Texas, how about this? They're a 5.5-point favorite over Oklahoma at home tomorrow night.
In a winner take all and loser go home. I think the same thing's true tomorrow for North Carolina. I think they have got to win.
They got to beat Duke
at home against Duke, or they may not get in.
That's another thing Lenardi said. He writes his notes down. He said, North Carolina, you probably need to beat Duke tomorrow if you want to be in the NCAA tournament. Some other news around the country. Well, right here in the state, Burt Bertelkamp will retire at the end of this basketball season, ending a 26-year stint with the Vol Network, calling games there with Bob Kessling. Him and Bob Kessling will both be recognized at halftime of tomorrow's game. So really cool. And I hate that. There's nothing like turning the game on with Bob and Bert. And now,
money.
You won't be hearing either of them next season. But the best money call was after Meshack's. It was like, money.
Yeah. So when Bert lived here, we used to play basketball some together. And that makes me feel really old when I hear he's, quote, retiring.
Yeah, 26 years there as the radio color analyst for the Vols. We got some NFL notes. Browns owner Jimmy Haslam recently declined a request to meet with Myles Garrett after his trade request. NFL Network reported that Haslam directed Garrett to meet with the GM instead. So Garrett wants out, but the Browns aren't budging. They're not working with Garrett right now. But, I mean, you can't blame Garrett for wanting out. He's trying to win some games. He hasn't won a ton there in Cleveland.
Billy, ultimately, he's going to win this battle. It's either, I think, the Eagles or Detroit, where he ends up.
As an owner and as a front office, you can't just ignore this guy. I mean, you gotta do something with him. So Garrett, we'll see what happens there. Also, the Jaguars are planning to release tight end Evan Ingram, saving them nearly $6 million in cap space. This comes after trading Christian Kirk to the Texans, which I forgot to mention yesterday. The Jags are a mess right now. And you're seeing a lot of teams lose a lot of their weapons, their offensive weapons, their receivers. One of those teams are the Jags. And lastly, here with the Titans, they are releasing Harold Landry, saving them nearly $11 million in cap space, but it increases to $17.5 million if they designate him as a post-June 1st cut. So
which they probably will.
Yeah, he led the team with 9 sacks last season. They gave him permission to seek a trade, but nothing materialized. So his contract's just too big. I guess you can thank Rand Carthon for that. But that's what we've got.
Okay, after the break on a busy and quick Friday afternoon, our buddy and former University of Tennessee basketball star Mark Griffin will join us. Stick around. This is 94.9 The Fan.
New year, new priorities. Family and safety come first. If a car or truck accident disrupts your life, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, experienced, and ready to fight for you. Call 615-242-9000. Happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Attention college basketball fans. Kentucky and Gonzaga will square off Friday night, December the 5th at Bridgestone Arena, and you won't want to miss it. Tickets are on sale to the public at this very moment at BridgestoneArena.com and on the Ticketmaster app. It's two of the best programs in all of college basketball, and they're playing right in the heart of downtown Nashville. Act now. Tickets will be gone shortly, so you better act accordingly. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Hey, Preds fans, the Predators conclude their two-game homestand tomorrow night against the Blackhawks on a Saturday night in Smashville. The game is at 7 with Pete Weber and Jay Moore on the call. Pre-game radio coverage begins at 6.
Smashville lives here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are back from the Fordyce Center in Bellevue, halftime in St. Louis. Belmont leading 41-18 over Illinois State. They appear to be in really good shape. That's the good news. The bad news, they got to take on the number 1 seed tomorrow, and that would be Drake in St. Louis. You see Mark Griffin in the background, former University of Tennessee star, back from vacation, looking none worse the wear. How you doing?
Great, George. Billy, thanks for having me. Looking forward to being on here today.
Oh, thank you for doing this. So I guess while you were gone, it appears that for the moment, Tennessee has lost the 1 seed, probably a 2 after what Ole Miss did to them Wednesday night. Mark, I continue to be confused on what I think about them. There are certain nights where they feel like a national title contender. They certainly feel like a 1 seed. And then there are other nights where I come away going, I'm not sure. How about you?
I'm totally in agreement with you, George. And some people can get frustrated. I don't look at it being frustrated. It's just more of a mystery. But I still come back to look at any team in the SEC, not only UT, but when you watch certain teams certain nights, you turn off the TV and you've got your opinion of them, and then you turn them back on 3 days later and you got a totally different opinion. Look at Florida, for example, when they went into Alabama, looked like they will be in the Final Four. And then a few days earlier, this past week, to lose to Georgia. And you could go down the list of teams not being consistent throughout the season. And UT really does stand out as not being consistent right now. And it is a concern. I know some people may say, well, maybe the Ole Miss game will wake them up. And I'm just not from that school of thought, George. I think you want to dominate every game you play in, and you learn from winning, and it just hurts when you lose. But you should be motivated regardless of win or loss. What's disheartening for the UT game in Oxford was I felt like Ole Miss played much harder. And a staple of Coach Barnes' program is their aggressiveness on the defensive end. And to me, I was able to watch the Ole Miss game. They got out-hustled in every facet. 50-50 balls, break field diving on the floor, taking advantages of mismatches, etc., hitting the boards. Ole Miss is 14th in the conference in offensive rebounds. I think they averaged 9 a game. They had 15 offensive rebounds against Tennessee. And you can't allow that as a program and expect to hope or to make it to that Final Four weekend. You let teams out hustle you, out rebound you, you're going to lose that first weekend.
Mark, in saying all this stuff, I got to also admit, I've got some of the same feelings about Alabama. They've lost twice at home inside the conference. The common denominator is really good inside play. Janai Broome at Auburn, Condon at Florida. Does Alabama have enough on the inside to get to the very top of the mountain?
George, I haven't seen it often and definitely not consistently. Alabama's mojo is getting up shots, three-point shots, and up-tempo play off of defensive rebounds. Teams have learned that if they can get back, and normally teams will strategize to have one guy is what they call a safety man when offensive shot goes up. One guy is the safety man, which is the back man, to make sure that the opposing team doesn't have a fast break. Well, a lot of coaches will maybe double that and have 2. I think in Alabama's case, you at least have to have 2 guys back and send 3 to the boards, and that'll allow for that adjustment when Alabama's running the fast break, because that's where they're at their best. But you're right, inside presence not there. Grant Nelson is not, to me, an inside player at all, and they have been inconsistent inside, and I don't think Alabama defends well on the perimeter. I just don't think that's what their foundation is. Now, it's exciting to watch them play. Love Mark Sears, a lot of talented guards, but there's some glaring weaknesses there that I think were hidden earlier, and I think that they'll be taken advantage of tomorrow against Auburn. I think Auburn wins big.
Okay, here's a theory, and I want you to either buy it or completely shoot it down. By now, all of the SEC teams know each other. Somebody calls out a play, somebody on the other team says, here's what they're doing. And so which of Tennessee or Alabama is most likely to benefit when they get to the NCAA tournament of playing something or somebody who doesn't know every last movement they're making?
Well, for me, I'm a stickler on tempo. And when it comes to the tournament time, George, it's noted in the past that teams that are high-scoring teams they're just not going to score as many points as they're used to scoring in the regular season. I think Alabama's number 1 in the nation in points and over 90-plus a game. That's going to be slowed down. And I think that hurts them more than Tennessee being slowed down, because they don't have to play that up-tempo game as much, and they rely more on their defense, which I think helps in tournament time. It's a dynamic shift. Now, can Alabama make adjustments? Yes. They have great talent. But I think what your question comparing Tennessee versus Alabama, I think it favors Tennessee in the tournament based on number of possessions and playing gritty defense outside of what we saw against Ole Miss.
Okay, you're going to be the latest to hear my little diatribe about Arkansas. So I saw Arkansas here on Tuesday night, and Mark, there is a dunk late in the first half. If you have not seen it, Dr. J would wish to have those style points. It was unbelievable. And I yelled out as whoever it was, and Billy, you know who it was, and I don't.
Trevon Brazil.
Thank you.
Oh.
I yelled out, "Holy cow!" because it looked like a Dr. J one-hand tomahawk. Anyway, Arkansas had a series.
Harry. Thank you, Harry.
You're welcome. Arkansas had a series of these kind of plays where you come away going, okay, in raw athletic ability, Arkansas is there with anybody. I think the problem is they're not very well coached.
Yeah. It blows my mind how I feel the same way. Now, Calipari is a great salesperson, and for those who love him, great. I'm just not on that bandwagon that a lot of people have been. And then there's obviously a lot of people who have digressed over the years and have seen that he is a lot of talk and wants the attention on him, in my opinion. And with that talent level that he has, he puts together every year. It's amazing, George. A lot of coaches could do, I think, a lot more with that talent. For example, can you see Dennis Gates with Arkansas's talent, Mark Byington with Arkansas's talent, what they would do with this same team? I would challenge and say they probably have a lot better record, in my opinion.
Having seen Missouri last weekend, I wouldn't want to play them for a living either. You talk about really talented. Vanderbilt, how they won that game is, well, there's certainly a coach's error. Gates decides not to foul at the end up by 3 and paid dearly for it. But Missouri's another one that you're like, wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wow.
There is a lot of wow, a lot of holy cows, you said. And all of it's coming together. I mean, now we're here in March, last weekend of the regular season, to find out the seeding for next week's tournament in Nashville on Wednesday, with 4 games on Wednesday, George. I think that's the first time.
Yep.
And it's really going to be exciting. I mean, we obviously have the graphics here. First night, I mean, that's some great games. I mean, just pointing out the one that I'm really looking forward to seeing is Arkansas, Oklahoma. I mean, if Jeremiah, I think if Jeremiah Fears plays well against Oklahoma and has the support cast around him, you could see an upset there. But then I also, George, I have to go out on a limb and say if Arkansas plays the way they should be playing with that talent level, you could see them blow through both Oklahoma and Dennis Gates' team at Missouri and really give Alabama a great game. That's the great thing about this tournament is who is going to be there on Sunday is a mystery.
Okay, let me go ugly on you. Of those first 8 teams, Billy, put that thing back up there. The 8 top teams at the moment are Auburn, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Missouri, Ole Miss, Kentucky. In theory, right now, those are the 8 that don't have to play on Wednesday. Which one of those 8 would benefit the most from getting beat early and simply going home and resting?
Oh, gosh. That's a great question. Wow. I really can't say Missouri because such a great defensive team. And then well, you know what? Let me flip this. I'd probably say Kentucky. You may go, why? Just rest their legs because of the tempo they play compared to the other teams. I just think rest their legs, not a lot of depth. Those are the key factors for me for Kentucky. Great shooters, spread the court in a great manner, getting better inside play. But if they were to get beat, I just think it helps them being able to rest the legs. Now, I'm not for, teams, not advancing to the finals. And I know Calipari, your guy, really downplays significance of the SEC championship. I think any tournament you play should want to be a champion, regardless if it's the Green Hills Y, George, which I know you were so proud to try to play for championships there.
I was never a champion.
Well, I know you strive to be. And that's the thing. You strive to be a champion. So this whole thing like, oh, it's not a big deal. And then sometimes the media jump on there and say, oh, they need, they have more rest. Well, I kind of debunk that theory because players want to play. And if you're not playing in a 40-minute game, and most of the guys don't play more than 32 minutes or so, unless you're, Zakai Ziegler, then they're going to be practicing or their mind's going to be on other issues. They'd rather be on the court because that's their comfort zone. Not watching a game on TV, hearing their name called or team called or seeing Joe Lunardi talk about them. They want to play. They don't want to just get up shots in Nashville at one of the high schools. They want to play. They don't want to rest their legs. I just don't buy into that personally.
Okay. We'll go to the break on that. Billy will take over with former University of Tennessee star Mark Griffin. Later in the show, we'll get you another update from St. Louis on the Belmont game. They are cruising at the moment, 23-point lead at the intermission. We'll get you another March Madness scoreboard update. An abbreviated edition will be with you until around 4:15 on 94.9 The Fan.
As we step into the new year, there's nothing more important than family and safety. If a car wreck or big truck accident turns your world upside down, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, we're experienced, and we're ready to fight for what you deserve. Call us anytime at 615-242-9000. Really wishing you a safe and happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Attention college basketball fans. Kentucky and Gonzaga will square off Friday night, December the 5th at Bridgestone Arena, and you won't want to miss it. Tickets are on sale to the public at this very moment at bridgestonearena.com and on the Ticketmaster app. It's two of the best programs in all of college basketball, and they're playing right in the heart of downtown Nashville. Act now. Tickets will be gone shortly, so you better act accordingly. This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Where can you see a saber-toothed tiger rappel from the rafters? How about a catfish fly? The biggest stars in Music City. Not to mention hockey's hottest ticket. The Predators win! Only in Smashville. See your Nashville Predators all season long at Bridgestone Arena. Single game tickets are on sale now at NashvillePredators.com. Let's go, Preds!
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. What a terrific if you're a college basketball fan. You've got the end of the SEC regular season. You've got some of the mid-major tournaments already starting. Then the big boys next week with the conference tournaments. And then a week from Sunday, we will know the field in the NCAA tournament. Mark Griffin alongside for your ride home. Billy, what do you got for him?
Mark, I want to go back to the Tennessee Ole Miss game on Wednesday night. First off, Ole Miss played maybe the best game all season. They weren't desperate, but they, like you said, they got to every loose ball. Brakefield, 19 points in the second half was incredible. But Milicic has the 4-point play to tie the game up, which was incredible. And then they give him another chance to tie the game there with the layup. He loses control of the ball. But number one, what did you think of Rick Barnes' timeout at midcourt with 3 seconds left? And then Milicic, what's going on with him? Because it doesn't seem like he's at the top of his game right now when they need him to be.
Well, as far as the timeout, I mean, even the announcers mentioned that was going to happen. I was a little surprised. I don't know if you guys noticed like I did. They were pretty complacent with the timing of getting the ball across half court. I think Meshack is the one who took the ball across court, but whichever UT player it was, I thought maybe at least 1 second could have been preserved. Then you would have had 4 seconds. But regardless, 3 seconds, you got plenty of time. You're always coached, you could bounce the ball a bounce per second. So you knew you were at least going to get 3 dribbles if need be for the play that was drawn. I'm not trying to hate on Milicic. I never can pronounce. I'm going to say Igor. But I have mentioned on several occasions weekly on the show that he has bad hands. And if you really watch him, and I love the guy, I think he brings a lot to the program, but there's always areas of improvement for any player on the court. And I've seen so many balls go through his hands that could have been potential rebounds. Now, mind you, he's got a great rebounding average. But when he drove to the layup, however he lost that ball, he should not have. He should have been able to maintain possession and either drop stepped or continued on with his layup. He just fumbled it. No one's really discussed it, I don't think, in detail that I've heard, but he just fumbled it, period. That should not have happened in my mind, especially when you've practiced this. I mean, your layup drill since you're in the 5th grade, guys, or below. So here's your – I think if anything, I think he was shocked that he was open and lost his concentration and just lost the ball because the defender, I think, was Brakefield. Well, he's not going to foul him. He moved out of the way. So he just has to have better hands. And on your other point, I've stated over and over, I really do think Tennessee progresses as far as Igor plays consistent. Now, the 4-point play was fantastic, but if you guys noticed, he was not in the game during a critical time when Brakefield went to work. They kept him on the bench. Why? Not a great defender. So who was going to play Brakefield and give Coach Beard a lot of credit from Ole Miss standpoint that he was able to run an offensive play from from the free throw line elbow extension and post up Okporo and just dominate him. And it was amazing. I've never seen a big dominated that much consistently back to back. And they went at him ad nauseum. And I just thought, what a great play. And UT had nothing for that. I actually thought maybe they would even go to a zone just to throw Ole Miss off. But, of course, Coach Barnes, fantastic Hall of Fame coach. But as fans, we're always going to sit there and go, what about this situation? What about that situation? It just worked out well for Ole Miss. And if I'm playing Tennessee, then that tells me I'm running a lot of things at the free throw line extended, and I'm going to try to get one-on-one mismatch on the big guy and just drive it inside. Or if Milicic is guarding me, I'm going to do the same thing. And that was the concern last year, guys, was the big guys that UT went up against dominated them. Edey, Dickerson, Edey from Purdue, Dickerson from Kansas, ate them alive. And then now you're seeing another big. And what's interesting is Breakfield's not a huge guy. I think he maybe 6'8". I don't know. But, he was giving up 3 inches on defense, but just dominated.
Well, George talked earlier about Trevon Brazile dominating for Arkansas over Vandy, and we've talked about Arkansas, and it's just one game for Vandy, Mark. You've talked highly of them, that you do, think they're a good team and can make a run potentially. But we know they have their weaknesses, their flaws. Did that Arkansas game show you anything is this a matchup kind of weakness for Vanderbilt, where if you've got a long athletic team, because Missouri, Georgia, Mark Mitchell was a guy that gave them a lot of trouble. Georgia with Asa Newell Saturday is going to be really tough. They down low with especially RJ Godfrey. So to me, Mark, that's one thing they've got to hone in on and think differently when they're playing teams like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'll be watching for that this weekend. And once again, I know coaches don't like to play zone much, and I'm not a huge fan in the zone defense, but I do like when you're able to throw a zone in on occasion just to change momentum and the offensive style of play. When you'll change up defenses consistently over a short period of time, offense has to gather themselves. So they're probably using 4 to 6 seconds off the clock to make adjustments. And that does help a defense. I would be curious to see if Vanderbilt would choose to go to zone at moments. But getting back to Asa Newell, that is going to be a really big opportunity for Georgia if they take advantage of it. And I'm going to throw this in, and this is not a big guy for Georgia, but I'm really curious. And I was a big fan of Tyron Lawrence when he was at Vanderbilt. And as you guys know, he's at Georgia. And he's playing over 25 minutes a game, averaging a little over 8 points a game, kind of playing more of a role versus a shooting a guard, consistent shooting guard opportunity for Georgia. But it's amazing that it'll be amazing to me to see his motivation playing against Vanderbilt, because sometimes these guys have grudges against their own team as opposed to appreciation. I'm sure he enjoyed his time at Vanderbilt. I would hope for the most part, but at the same time, I think it will feel good for him to stick it to Vanderbilt at home if he can, to help Georgia get to that 20th win, which is a huge win for them. And I didn't expect this, George and Billy, to see Georgia this year have 20 wins. And I'm sure you guys did not either, nor did most fans.
No, I don't think we expected South Carolina to struggle as much as they have either. They will go to Knoxville tomorrow as heavy underdogs tomorrow to play Tennessee. But they do have an interesting player on their team, Jamari Thomas, who is your most impactful transfer to the MIT for this week.
Yes, I really like this kid. I saw him play in person last year when Norfolk State played Tennessee in Knoxville, and he put together 15 points, and he was the player of the year, as you see there, and all defensive player, which I think it's when you get an accolade such as player of the year, it says a lot. But when you can combine that with all defensive team, that's a total package, and a huge get for South Carolina, to add to the roster that they needed, because they lost a lot of really good players last year. Now, they haven't been as successful as a team, but this is one thing that they're going to go in, and this is their tournament. I mean, they're like, hey, let's get us a win, finish off the season, and let's upset some people. Let's play that underdog role. And I'll be definitely watching Jamari to see how he plays. He the second leading scorer on South Carolina's team. He's been a consistent scorer for his career. When he was at Norfolk State the previous season, he averaged like 16.9 points a game. So he's a really good second option or first wing option when they're not trying to get the ball down to Colin Murray Boyles, who I hope we talk about. So we'll see how he goes.
All right, let's move out west for our nothing but net surprise team. And boy, have they been a surprise. And right now, UC San Diego is an 11 seed. According to Joe Lunardi out of the Big West, they got to, of course, win their conference tournament. But, Mark, you wonder if they're an at-large bid, even if they don't. And, what a job this head coach has done here.
Yeah, this is probably my biggest surprise team of this season, and some may say, why do you include them? I go through the net rankings pretty much every day, and then I saw UC San Diego, and I'm thinking, I am not familiar with this program, and I'm not familiar with the Big West. I mean, I am familiar with Long Beach State from back in the day. I think Cal State Fullerton, and talk baseball, but as far as basketball, not a lot coming out of the Big West Conference. So when I did a little research on their coach, Eric Olin, what I really enjoyed seeing about him was he started off as an assistant back in 2004 and was an assistant up until 2013, and then bumped up to the head coach since then. And guys, they were a D2 program up until 2020. So really progressed, and the people who follow, the alums, the fans out in that area, for a program to be a D2 program within the last, several years, and now showing up in Joe Lunardi's, selection as far as being ranked, like you said, 11th seed, and if they can win that tournament, I mean, kudos to that program. And another thing, they're the fourth highest non-power conference that is ranked. And what I mean by that is you've got Gonzaga, St. Mary's that are from the West Coast Conference, and then VCU from A10, and then you've got UC San Diego right there. So it's quite an accomplishment. I thought I'd finish this segment this season with watching this team, and I'll be interested to see how they fare if they, first of all, watch them in the tournament, their own conference tournament, and then if they can make it into the big dance, it'll be fun to watch them. And one last thing about this program, or actually two, they've got 4 players that are averaging double figures, so they spread the wealth, and their average margin of victory is almost 20 points a game for the full season. So they're dominating, even though with 4 losses, they're playing really well and blowing out teams that they're playing. So I'm really looking forward to see how they fare.
And to clarify, this is not San Diego out of the West Coast Conference. This is
San Diego State.
No, San Diego. That's
the Toreros.
This is not San Diego, the Toreros out of the WC.
Steve Lavin, who I don't know if he's still there, George, you would know, but he coached them, and if he either has gotten fired or he's going to get fired.
Yeah, this is UC San Diego out of the Big West.
Yeah,
and you're right, George. There is San Diego State, so there's a lot of programs to be following in San Diego.
Yeah. It's a hoops city for sure. San Diego State, by the way, Lenardi has them headed to Dayton. It was interesting. Lenardi has this week Alabama as a 2 seed playing South Alabama. Years ago, South Alabama beat Alabama in the NCAA tournament on a 3-point field goal. Gabriel Estaba. There's one for you.
Was John Pelfrey coaching them then or no?
Don't know. Okay, we're going to go to the break. We're moving quickly, obviously. If you want to get in a phone call to Mark, you got to do it in a hurry. 615-553-0933. Stat of the day, March Madness scoreboard update, a report from St. Louis. All of them are coming up on 94.9 The Fan. If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400.
Don't let shoulder or elbow injuries put a dent in your golf game or keep you off the course. The sports medicine experts at Houston Clinic Orthopedics can help you return to playing your best game pain-free. They offer treatment options from physical therapy to injections and, if needed, surgery. Houston Clinic Orthopedics has 8 convenient locations around Middle Tennessee. To experience world-class orthopedic care and to book your appointment, visit tn.houston.com.
The Electronic Express tax refund sale is going on now. Get up to 40% off in every department, including 4K TVs, computers and accessories, Bluetooth headphones, furniture, and more. Plus, we have all your appliance needs in stock and ready to deliver. And buy now, pay later with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com with express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9 The Fan. A Cromwell media station.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We're talking more college basketball with Mark Griffin coming up. But first, stat of the day brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin, or give them a call, 615-754-9800. Also, log on to their website. That's applecollisioncenters.com. All right, here we go. We're going to lump Mark into this deal. Drake is looking to win its 3rd straight Missouri Valley tournament this weekend. Who was the last non-Drake team to win this tournament?
Mark, I don't know why I'm thinking Loyola, Chicago, or Bradley.
I'm going to go back to before Creighton went to the Big East and pick Creighton. That's going way back.
I forgot Creighton was in the Missouri Valley.
I'll go Bradley. What the heck? Let's see.
It is Loyola, Chicago.
Oh, wow. Okay, didn't they beat Tennessee on their run to the Final Four?
Sure did. Porter Moses at Oklahoma standing there in the middle.
Yeah, they had I remember Custer hit a shot that rattled around the rim a few times and went in.
Okay, so we got a short amount of time. Let me get a phone call first. Then, depending on what we got going on, we'll figure it out. Clay, welcome into 94.9 The Fan.
George, how we doing today?
Good. Hope you are.
Doing okay. Good. How you doing, Mark?
Did Mark freeze?
Thought we
I
had
can't
Mark.
hear him, sorry.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Clay.
Go ahead. How you doing, Mark?
Great, Clay. Happy Friday.
Same to you. It was interesting you talking about because as I watched the Alabama-Florida game the other night, I kind of thought the same thing, kind of in the direction you were going. Alabama, George said, they've lost a couple of games at home, and they've lost, quite a few games. Some of the weaker two seeds. Nate Oates is a good coach, but I agree. They seem to just want to play this up-tempo style, shoot a lot of threes, get a lot of shots up, get fouled, free throws, things like that. They don't have a lot of low post game. And I do think that could, hurt them in the tournament as far as making a deep run. It's just interesting to me because they have been they were a good team last year. I don't see their problem. See Auburn. I wouldn't be surprised maybe if they were the first one to go out. I'm not saying they're not going to make a long run, but it does appear to me that they could hit the wrong team on the wrong day, because after all, we know this tournament's all about matchup.
Yeah. Hey, let's do this. I know we're having some phone trouble with Clay, but I think we got the gist of it. Mark, they are a team that it feels like, boy, they better get the right matchup.
Yeah, and man, and then you have to look bigger picture matchups overall. I looked at Lenardi's matchups during the break, and then they had Auburn potentially playing Kansas. And I'm thinking, wow, what a matchup there for a second round. Broome against Dickinson. I mean, that could be an upset alert. Now, Kansas still has great talent. They haven't put it together, but I'd hate to play Kansas in second round. And because of the talent level that they have, the NCAA experience, you got a first-team All-American. You've got a fantastic point guard. You've got some depth, and we could go on and on about matchups, but it is key. It's big key, and you try to hide your weaknesses, exploit your strengths. Every team has some weaknesses. You just hope that you can build on the foundation of your strengths, and that you've got multiple options that can score when need be. Defense has got to be steady, but you've got to be able to put the ball in the basket. And as well, or looking at, I'll go back to the Tennessee game, if there's some deficiencies defensively, then you really have to pick it up on the offensive end, because your teams are taking advantage of a mismatch that they did. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm just glad that I'm not an expert having to pick who's going to win at all, because I have no clue, and it would be a guessing game. It'll be fun. I think there's going to be tons of fans pouring into Nashville because of the opportunities that each program may have to move forward. And then you're going to have some teams that are going to be packing for that Sunday. They're going to go home the first night, guys.
Yep. By the way, Auburn, if things continue and they end up as the number 1 overall seed, looks like they would end up in Lexington. And then if they're fortunate enough, they'd go to Atlanta. Major home court advantage for Auburn. Yeah. Billy, let's get a March Madness scoreboard update, and then back at the station, hopefully we can get Ty Wellemeyer on from St. Louis as well.
Here we go. March Madness scoreboard updates brought to you by Kentucky and Gonzaga. Big matchup coming up December 5th between these two national powers at Bridgestone Arena. Tickets go on sale right now. They are on sale right now. You can get them at bridgestonearena.com and on the Ticketmaster app. All right. real quick here, March Madness scoreboard update. Ty is just about ready to call us in and give us an update there on Belmont and Illinois State. Belmont still up big there in that game. Elsewhere around the country, we talked about some of the OVC results from today on the women's side of things, as I'm currently struggling to find those. That's pretty much all we need to get to. OVC women, Lindenwood trails Western Illinois right now 19-15, and Tennessee Tech does close it out against Southern Indiana 88-78. And then in the SEC, had a really good one going on between Kentucky and Oklahoma. Oklahoma pulls it out over the Lady Cats 69-65. Coming up at 5 o'clock, Ole Miss and Texas, and then Florida and LSU. So that's what we've got going on. As I mentioned earlier, NBA loses to Briarcrest at the high school level in the Division II AA state semifinal.
You missed the South Carolina popping of Vandy today, which South Carolina is really good. 84-63 the final. At times it's close. At times it was not. You could say the same thing about Belmont's game against Illinois State. They have led, at least so far, wire to wire. Let's go to St. Louis. Ty Wellemeyer is at the arena. Ty, tell me what's happening.
So Belmont came out in the second half, little lackadaisical, and you could tell that Illinois State had some of that fire. You know, they don't want to lose by 23 for sure. But this is the good thing about having a 23-point lead, George. You can have these moments where you go cold on offense, and you can still be up 15 like Belmont is right now.
58-43 at the moment, under the 8-minute dead ball timeout. Ty, who's played well for Belmont?
I mean, you can see the whole starting five, George, to be honest with you. They did a great job on offense and defense. I've really enjoyed watching Carter Witt today. We talked about him in the 3 o'clock hour. He's just done a great job commanding the offense, getting the shots he needs to. And I really have enjoyed Tyler Lumblade, too. He's hit a couple of threes, but he's starting to attack the paint more, which is something that maybe could be a key for Belmont tomorrow, as Drake is probably going to try to limit the three-pointers the Bruins take.
Yeah, and they've gotten some production off the bench, haven't they?
Yeah, for sure. I love the two freshman bigs that Casey Alexander has, Sam Orm, Drew Charnowski. Orm is more of like a stretch forward. He can hit the three ball. Charnowski, pick and roll, alley-oops. He threw down a nasty alley-oop dunk probably about 4 minutes ago. They got the Belmont crowd fired up. So, I mean, those two coming off the bench, that's huge.
So 58-43 Belmont with 7:39 to play in the game. Ty, enjoy St. Louis. Take a look at the Cardinals Stadium. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. I was just there earlier today, so I'm going to try to look at it again, hopefully.
Sounds good. Take care.
You do the same.
Ty Wellemeyer reporting live from St. Louis. Mark, can Belmont hang with Drake?
Wow. It's a tough task. Can it happen? It can. Drake and their head coach that came over from a D2 program, I think he brought at least 4 D2 players with him and have really exceeded their expectation, I think, for this season, especially, and how well they fared last year before their coach took off and went to West Virginia. And it'll be an exciting game. Of course, we'll be pulling for Belmont if they can once again make it through today. Exciting basketball, a lot of TV time. I know you guys will be watching. Your listeners will be watching. And this is a great time to watch these so-called mid-majors. You get a lot of great basketball, competitive basketball. And you do see maybe some – if you watch closely, the athleticism may not be there as much, but it's fun to watch these guys compete because growing up, every kid that shot in his backyard, the middle school or high school level, dreamed of playing in the NCAA tournament. That's just a given. Everyone's dreamed it. And some of these people are going to be able to realize it and they'll never forget it. Even if you lose, we lost my senior year, not a great memory of a loss, but a great memory of the goal of going to Greensboro, North Carolina, and that environment, being able to step on the court and play in front of millions on TV. It's a nice way to finish off a long season. And some of these young men are going to make names for themselves. And now with NIL opportunities and job opportunities, it may change their future.
All right, for the radio listeners, we'll be leaving the radio here in just a couple of minutes, Mark. So a couple of minutes on this answer. Ask Mark to project the Final Four, Stormy says, with only one SEC team listed. He says his picks are Texas Tech, St. John's, Duke, and Florida. Your thoughts?
Wow. Okay. Well, after watching that Florida-Alabama game, it's hard not to pick Florida. I'm still going to go. I'm still an Auburn homer. I'm going to stick with Auburn. And one reason is just they have depth. And I just think Coach Pearl has got them believing, and I'm not saying they're drinking the Kool-Aid. And if they are drinking the Pearl Kool-Aid, they need to get another gulp because it's working. And I just don't see them getting beat. Even if it's a tough, I think, Kansas matchup. Excuse me if it doesn't happen. So I'll stick to Auburn. As far as the other matchups, I do like Duke, even if the youth, but their 3 star players are all lottery picks for 2025. It's interesting. St. John's is a team that, we talk a lot about Patino. I saw them play in Nassau, and they lost, but a tough team, and they play tough defense. That may be, I would consider it more of a surprise, but I could see that happening. And then one that I'm big on right now, and I haven't seen him as much, but Tom Izzo's Michigan State. I just think because of his toughness and direction, and how hard-nosed and that he coached and the players that he recruits, that's another team that pops up right now. What about you, George?
Mark, stop there because I got to stop there. Have a good weekend. Be safe. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, abbreviated show on radio. Those of you who want to switch over to the podcast will have Plaster Bet of the Day coming. This is 94.9 The Fan.
New year, new priorities. Family and safety come first. If a car or truck accident disrupts your life, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, experienced, and ready to fight for you. Call 615-242-9000. Happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Attention college basketball fans. Kentucky and Gonzaga will square off Friday night, December the 5th at Bridgestone Arena, and you won't want to miss it. Tickets are on sale to the public at this very moment at bridgestonearena.com and on the Ticketmaster app. It's 2 of the best programs in all of college basketball, and they're playing right in the heart of downtown Nashville. Act now. Tickets will be gone shortly, so you better act accordingly. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up, 615-793-9500, or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Final segment on a Friday loaded weekend of the SEC. Of course, we know what's happening Sunday at Allen Arena, Lipscomb and Queens for the ASUN title. All kinds of conference championship games going on. We'll see where George is going with Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law, or I should say bets of the weekend. As we roll through, let's take a look at what happened last night.
Ugh.
4 straight losses now. MTSU -1 didn't work. They lost, of course, to Liberty, and Lipscomb didn't cover the 9.5. You were worried about that.
Yeah, that's one of the best college games I have seen all year. What a great environment at Allen Arena. And I would say to anybody that's out there looking for a good college basketball game to go to, Sunday at 1 o'clock over there at Allen Arena, Lipscomb trying to get to the NCAA tournament against North Alabama. That has a chance to be a terrific game.
They may not get it, but they deserve a sellout there. I mean, that place deserves to be rocking.
Which would be about 5,000. When Liberty came in here a few years ago, they did sell out the final. So I have 5 plays. Surely to God I can win one of them, he says.
Here we go.
3 tonight, 2 tomorrow. Let's start in the Missouri Valley. Bradley is a 4.5-point favorite against Murray State. To me, there is no comparison in these two programs right now. Bradley appears to be one of the 2 best teams in the league. Murray is going to get Steve Prohm fired when this tournament is over. Bradley to cover, I think, by a considerable possible double-digit margin. Game 1.
Okay.
Next game tonight, I am taking Tennessee State +3 against SIU Edwardsville. Unless SIUE's program has improved dramatically, I don't see it. I think the wrong team's favored. I think Tennessee State is going to get to the finals under Penny Collins. There's another local team kind of getting it done. And in the first game of the doubleheader tonight in Evansville, I am taking Arkansas Little Rock, UALR, a 3-point dog against SEMO. Why? I think the wrong team's favored. UALR. So, got 3 plays tonight, got 2 tomorrow. Very early. I'm taking Arkansas at home, -1 against Mississippi State. I just think the Hogs, they're on a mission. They've got to have this game.
Yep.
Mississippi State, they're safely in.
Yep.
So we're taking the Hogs. By the way, if you'd like to call the Hogs in your own personal space, you're certainly welcome.
Feel free to do so.
Absolutely. The other one, I'm taking Liberty tomorrow, -3 at Western Kentucky. This is not a very good Hilltopper team. Liberty was good enough last night to win in Murfreesboro against Middle, and they'll be good enough to win tomorrow against Western Kentucky.
Liberty's
Billy,
good.
I'm going 5-0.
I like Bradley. They're in that championship every year, it feels like, in the Missouri Valley. That's a pretty safe bet. Tennessee State.
Oh, Billy, there are no safe bets.
I mean,
this is where you are so wrong.
TSU, I like. I don't know much about their team. I like that one, though. Arkansas over Mississippi State, I like that one. And then Western Kentucky, like you said, is not very good. So I like most of those.
Yeah, I'm going 5-0.
I don't know about that.
Just in time for Kelly to have to endure.
Boy, do you need it.
Monday, a big recap of Lipscomb's attempt to get in the NCAA tournament. Best of luck
to
Lipscomb. Lenny Acuff and that entire crew. Taylor Barnett will join us as well. We got a busy week of activity with the SEC tournament coming in on Wednesday. All of you have a great weekend if you're out there. Drive safely. We'll see you Monday here on the show.